All right, guys, there's really 3 big ways that you can sell your domain names, and I'm gonna share all 3 with you in detail.
Business on a bike with Brooks. Yeah.
All right, let's get going. So they're all 3 good ways. It just depends on the specific domain name, like your needs, goals. The variables are gonna be you. That's what it's gonna come down to. All right, the first way is what I like to call the passive sale. Imagine you have a real estate lot. You stick a sign up in the lot, put a for sale sign. That's the first way. You can list your domains on public marketplaces, on domain name marketplaces. The biggest one in the industry is by far Afternic. It used to be another company called Dan.com that people like, but Afternic, which is owned by GoDaddy, the biggest domain name registrar, purchased Dan.com. So Afternic by far is the largest. I know domain name sellers that this is their full-time business. It's the only thing that they do, and that this is the only way that they sell their domain names. Some of them have portfolios of multiple thousands of names, and they have them listed on these platforms. Domain being Afternic. Now, they will have what's called a sell-through rate. So they may sell through 1 to 2%, let's say conservatively, of their names per year. And that dog over there, dog's barking at me. 1 to 2% of their names per year. So if they owned 100 names, they might sell 1 to 2 of those in a year. So 1,000 names, maybe 10 to 20, right? So you're talking like 1 to 2 a month on average per 1,000 names. So you have to have a lot of names to make that work. But it totally, if you think about it, it totally makes sense. It's like fishing, right? Having a bunch of lines in the water and waiting for a bite. Now you gotta have good bait, so you gotta have good domain names. But like, this is exactly what that strategy is. So now look, it's probably the easiest way, not necessarily to make sales, the easiest way to get your domains up for sale. Your fees over on Afternic are also gonna be some of the highest. You're gonna pay 20 to 30% of your sale over on Afternic, depending on some settings, depending on whether your name servers are pointed at them, depending on whether you have this global, like, they push your name out harder. I've heard tons of different opinions on this, but this is the range, right? This is the range that you're gonna pay. Now, if your domain name sells for $1,000, you could be paying $300 commission. So that's high, but you're also looking at selling that passively on a platform whose whole job is to get the eyeballs to sell your domains. So like, I don't know, that's almost worth like half, right? Maybe, if they were like, if you had a great product and they sell your product and you're not gonna sell it, that's almost worth like partnering with them 50-50, but it's 30%, but whatever, I digress. It's a higher commission. All right, the second thing you can do is you can hire a domain name broker, just like in real estate, my real estate example. You can hire a broker to market and help you sell your domain name. Average commission is going to be 15%, pretty standard in the industry is like what I've seen. Now, anything goes. Anything can be negotiated with a broker depending on a number of things, but that's just kind of like, that's an average number. If you dig in and start looking and just Google, domain name brokers, you'll see there's a lot of those out there. There's dozens and dozens of domain name brokerages. It's crazy. It's an industry that maybe you didn't even know existed. I myself am working with Grit Brokerage. I have a few of my domain names listed with them. For example, cardfanatics.com. If you need a domain name, cardfanatics.com is listed with Grit Brokerage. Having a great experience. Now, it's my only experience with a broker so far, so I can't really speak about like comparing. This is not a video about comparing different brokerages because I don't have that experience. I can't help you there. One thing that would be cool is if they had some sort of like, almost like a monthly report of like, hey, here's where we are, here's what's going on. So like periodically, I get to connect and hear from them and communicate and like find out how it's going. But something like that would be cool. I don't know if other brokerages do that by default. It's kind of like real estate. I mean, like, that'd be cool. Like sellers just want to know like what's up with their property and like what's been going on, just like some communication. So what a broker is going to do that's different than these marketplaces is they're going to have some connections and contacts, and they're going to do outreach to people that they think are great fits for your domain name. And speaking of outreach, that's actually the third and final way that you're able to sell your domains is through what's called outbounding. In the industry, it's called outbounding. But let me give you some thoughts and tips here. You can't just outbound, or you can't just do outreach with any domain name. It's got to be a domain name that has a potential buyer that you can you can visualize and you can see. The best fits for these are going to be like geo-located domain names. And what do I mean by that? I mean, like, I'm in Mobile, Alabama. So like Mobile, Alabama poolbuilders.com, for example. Okay, maybe you find a pool builder that has a horrific website, or maybe they don't have a website at all yet. And you're like, hey, this domain would be perfect for you. It gets this amount of traffic search on a monthly basis, and you can do outreach to those specific people. Added bonus, do you know how to build websites? If so, build those guys a website, offer to host the website. So that's kind of like, that's where you become kind of like multi-pronged, multifaceted, like having a lot of tools in your toolbox, if you will, being able to do that stuff for those people. Now, every week in my email newsletter, I'm talking about the domain names, my strategies, what I'm doing. If I buy new domain names, I tell you. If I sell one, I let you know. So if you want to follow along there, link down below, or buildinecomestreams.com. Look forward to seeing you there. If I forgot, if there is some other way to sell a domain name that I don't know about, please let me know, because I want to try it. All right. See ya.
Business on a bike with Brooks. Yeah.